to move to. They're just, I mean, all we've got is this road. All we can do is we can jump across to that other point.
No, I can't see that deal.
Well, let's jump across. They're over where we come from, ain't they?
I think they're on that tree line. See that tree line?
Yeah. But do they not sound like they're closer to the other road now?
I don't think so, because I know earlier it sounded like they was in between that road and that tree line, that bigger tree. Now they sound like they're on them trees.
To me, we sounded closer to them a while ago. Or about the same distance.
We were closer, I think. But I think they done moved again.
We ain't gained nothing on them, that's for sure.
Thinking of the road. If we walk down the road and get into them big trees.
We can try that. I don't think we're going to call them right here.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say move on them again and go back. Because it ought to be more open under them bigger trees. Potentially, it ain't very many big trees. You can see that taller, bigger timber in the distance. It's a couple 100 yards from us. That's where we think the coyotes are. We're going to make a move back down the original woods road we walked down and try to get a little closer to that. Try to get them to come in. Hunting these thickets is a little different than hunting open ground. You got to get a lot closer to them to get them to come. Alright, here's what's going on. We located these coyotes last night from the gravel road, which is about a half mile the direction I'm looking. We've come in here and located them again this morning and made 2 or 3 moves on them. We were set up here in some short timber and it's too thick to try to do anything with them. So what we've done, last time the coyotes howled, and I'll pan around and show it to you here in a minute, they howled in the short timber in the thicket on the edge of this bigger timber that we left, or that they left in here cutting. What we've done is made a loop around, keeping the wind in mind. We've made a loop around them and tied into this big timber. And the plan is going to be to funnel those coyotes down that drain where they left the big timber into our lap. We're going to be set up in the bottom. I'll pan around and give you an idea of what I'm talking about. That's the taller timber point, and it runs down a drain. You can see the taller timber. It ties into this big timber that we're on the edge of. Where Kerry Wayne's standing, we're going to drop off in the bottom right there and make her sit and hopefully funnel those coyotes right in. We've got the wind in our face and we know that the coyotes, based off where they howled at last time, are in the point of the big timber. Clear cut, growed up in thicket on each side. Get down there and set up and see what happens. Alright, we've made the move and got in the bottom. Wind's good. We're going to howl. It's been about 20 or 30 minutes since we last heard them. So, we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll funnel down this draw right to us. We've got a thicket on both sides. Anytime. I say it's done, baby. It don't get no quicker than that. Yes, sir.
That worked good there.
That's about as quick as it gets.
You're dang right. Hey, we walked right in on them. I mean, when they answered it just then, wasn't none of them over 40 yards, I don't bet. If you could just see them. I knew if we got in the right distance, we was finna get one of them.
Oh, that worked out perfect. Making that move on them.
I know it. It just goes to show you, you get in the right position, you gonna kill him. I hope that's not him I'm smelling, because I really don't want to grab him if it is.
We are downwind. We had to make a pretty good loop to get downwind of them, but hey, it paid off. We was right in their lap. Or they was right in our lap. A little bit of both, I guess.
Hey, I walk that distance every time it end up like that.
It usually pays off.
Let's get him, see what he looks
That whole hunt, once we got set up, didn't last more than a minute.
No.
Good color on him for a summer coat.
It is a good color. That buckshot broke his ass apart, I know that. Wish we could got a couple more of them.
What was it, 4 of them total? I don't think I got but the one on camera, but unless it was some in the background. They come over that hill so quick.
I know it. Ain't no bad looking cow. Kind of like him.
Kind of tell you what the deal was this morning. Like I mentioned, I was trying to keep y'all updated as we were going through the hunt. We've probably been fooling with these coyotes now, what, an hour and a half?
Every bit.
Since we started from the truck. This was our first stop of the morning. I come in here last night and located these coyotes from the road, and they were right there real close to the gravel that we come in from. We come back this morning, got out of the truck, here Wayne Howell. They answered us, they were deeper in here. And you can probably tell from the video, we're in the bottom of 2 ridges. And timber companies have come in here and cut the top of these ridges, so it's just short pines. I was trying to show y'all how that kind of laid out on the video, and I'll pan out here in a minute and try to give you an idea of how we're setting up on these thicket coats. But we ended up coming in off the top of the ridge. The gravel roads on top of the ridges. We located the coats. They were right in the upper finger of this draw where it ties into the thickets. We tried to call them up in some old woods roads in the thickets. Of course, that didn't work, and it usually doesn't. And so we moved a couple times, keeping the wind in mind. We had to make a pretty good loop around these coats to get in this bottom with them in this more open timber. It's still pretty thick hunting, but it's more open than this cutover stuff is. When I pan around and let you see it, it's a great wall, but it's a great wall of briars and bullshit, and that's it. And makes for tough hunting. But we ended up making that loop around them, got the wind on them, sat down, and just before we set up, I told you last time the coyotes howled, we thought they were right in the point, or right in the tip of this draw. And sure enough, we sat down. Here Wayne howled on the 3-reed adult. That's what his go-to call is. And I mean, just like that, they lit up all but in sight. So I mean, the setup worked out perfect. We were right on top of them when we sat down, and that's key to hunting thick coyotes. I'm not saying coyotes here are any smarter or any harder to kill than coyotes somewhere else, but the terrain is tougher to hunt because it's thick. It's harder to hunt these coyotes because they're in thick timber. You don't have any visibility, so you got to get them typically within shotgun range to even have a chance of killing them. But
this was the 6th time they've answered us this morning since we've been on.
Six different times that we've tried to set up on them, and we finally got the wind. We had to go to some trouble to get around here on these coyotes and get in this bottom. Pretty good loop around. Took us about 30 minutes to make that loop, and but you can see it was well worth it, and it usually is. Once you ever get in the same type of cover that they're in, and you're close to them, it's money. And that's what happened on this. Kerry Wayne howled. Did you howl one time, two times?
One, I think. I mean,
Whatever it was, one or two howls, his first sequence. And they answered just out of sight. And I mean, I had time to pan the camera off of him and around. And I think there was actually 4 coming in. I don't know how many of them I got. I focused in on the lead coat, and that's the one he rolled up. But at close range, and of course it had done run up here and seen us and was trying to get out of there, but that buckshot chased him down. We'll drag this thing out of here and try to go get another one. I'll pan out and try to show y'all the setup. We get a lot of requests, people asking us about how we're hunting in this timber, so I'm trying to do a little bit better job of explaining what we're doing. Maybe it'll help y'all out. Of course, the main thing you need is an MFK diaphragm. That's what we're howling and killing all these coyotes with and doing our distress calls. If you want to get them or check out any of our stuff, our apparel, shirts, hats, whatever, you can find any of that stuff at mfkgamecalls.com. We appreciate it. All right, I told y'all a while ago that we'd pan out and kind of show you the setup. So I'm going to try to do that. This is the short timber, the clear cut stuff on top of the ridge that I was talking about. The great wall of briars and bullshit that I mentioned. That's so thick a snake have trouble crawling through it. And it's hard to call coyotes through that stuff, and you can't set up in it. This is just an old logging road that runs the edge of it. If Kerry Wayne pans out, you'll see the strip of timber. You should be able to see the timber edge where the short thicket timber meets the bigger timber. And what they do is they leave these strips of timber in here on these creeks and draws as some kind of erosion deal. They call them SMZs. We set up in that a lot. And if you notice, you can probably see daylight through those taller trees. On the other side of it, it's just more thicket, just like what's behind me. And that's what we use a lot of times to kill these coyotes. We'll get the wind, and those draws will funnel the coyote right in your lap. You kill him at close range. And that was the setup this morning. We come in from behind me off a gravel road. The coyotes were right in the point of these trees, in the point of this tall timber, where the thicket and the big timber meet. There was no way to call them up in this thick stuff. We tried to call them out in them roads a couple times because that was easy access. Didn't work. They wouldn't come. They'd answer us, wouldn't come. So finally, like I said before, we took about 30 minutes or so to get the wind right, and we made a loop. And if you look over here, you'll see the other side of where this draw wraps all the way around this thicket. We finally got to the edge of that, got in that bigger timber, and it's open enough underneath that we could see just a little bit, you know, shotgun distance. And wrapped around it until we were pretty close to where we thought we'd located the coyotes at. We sat down, had the wind blowing right back down the draw, hitting us in the face. We knew the coyotes were above us based off where they'd howled at the time before, and it was money. Kerry Wayne howled, and we had them in our lap within a minute. So maybe that'll help y'all out some. Of course, we were howling on the MFK howlers, as always, but maybe that'll give you a little better idea how we're setting up and hunting these timber coyotes. Let's go get this thing drug out to the truck and see if we can get another one.